Welcome to Bible Tales for All Ages. Today, we explore a powerful story from Exodus, the 10 plagues of Egypt. God used extraordinary signs to free the Israelites from slavery and teach Pharaoh about his power. The Israelites had been slaves in Egypt for many years. God chose Moses to lead them to freedom, but Pharaoh refused when Moses and Aaron asked him to let the Israelites go. So God sent a series of plagues to convince Pharaoh. The first plague, water turned to blood. The first plague struck the Nile, Egypt's lifeblood. Moses struck the water with his staff, turning it to blood. Fish died and the river stank, making the water undrinkable. But Pharaoh's heart was hardened, refusing to let the Israelites go. The second plague, frogs. God sent a plague of frogs. Frogs swarmed out of rivers, canals, and ponds covering the land. They were everywhere, in homes, beds, and even food. Pharaoh begged Moses to take the frogs away, but when the plague ended, he kept the Israelites in Egypt. The third plague, gnats. God sent a plague of gnats. Moses struck the dust, turning it into gnats that swarmed over people and animals. But Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn, refusing to free the Israelites. The fourth plague, flies. A swarm of flies filled houses and covered the ground. Chaos spread across Egypt, but in Goshen, where the Israelites lived, there were no flies. Despite this, Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go. The fifth plague, death of livestock. God sent a plague that killed the Egyptians' livestock, but the Israelites' animals were spared. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he refused to free God's people. The sixth plague, boils. God sent painful boils on the Egyptians and their animals. Even Pharaoh's magicians were afflicted. But despite the suffering, Pharaoh would not let the Israelites go. The seventh plague, hail. God sent a devastating hailstorm, unlike anything Egypt had seen. It destroyed crops, animals, and people caught outside. But in Goshen, the land of the Israelites, there was no hail. Pharaoh begged Moses to stop the storm, but when it ended, he hardened his heart again. The eighth plague, locusts. After the hail, God sent locusts. They covered the land, eating every green plant left. Egypt was left in ruins, but Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go. The ninth plague, darkness. God sent darkness over Egypt, a thick darkness for 3 days. Egyptians couldn't see each other or move, but Israelites had light where they lived, yet Pharaoh still would not let them go. The 10th plague, death of the firstborn. God sent the most severe plague. Every firstborn in Egypt died in a single night, but God spared the Israelites who marked their doors with lamb's blood. Pharaoh's surrender. The final plague broke Pharaoh's will. He called Moses and Aaron at night and told them to take the Israelites and leave. The Israelites were finally free, and they left Egypt that night. Conclusion. The 10 plagues of Egypt remind us of God's might and his commitment to his people. Earthly rulers may seem powerful, but God's will prevails. Join us next time on Bible Tales for All Ages for more amazing stories.